Ready? Ready? Okay, where's my notes? Welcome to our early May 15th trustee board meeting. We will begin today's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. This week is National Police Officer Memorial Week. Unfortunately, we had an officer in Euclid, Ohio, who was killed in the line of duty over the weekend. So it will be for him, and also for the 24,000 fallen officers who are on the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. We have an officer of our own on that memorial, John Bechtel. So for all of our men and ladies in blue, this is for you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. God bless them all. All right. Let's start out with the approval of minutes, Mr. Luby.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees' regular meeting held on April 24th and a public hearing on May 8th, 2024, and dispense with the readings.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, minutes passed.
Motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending April 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passed. Report from the fiscal officer?
Yes, as far as significant transactions since our last meeting, we did have our payments to our reimbursements to our schools for the first half real estate tax settlement. And Oak Hills, we cut a check for $1,463,019. And Great Oaks payment was $81,699. Cincinnati Public, $59,497. And we did cut a check to Graybach LLC for $57,000. That was for the patio bar. And on 5/9, our payroll was $356,000. That's all I have.
Wonderful, thank you. Trustee correspondence, Trustee Seavey.
First, thank you to everyone who waited in line so patiently for Delhi Cleanup Day. I can't tell you how much I appreciated the fact that everyone was kind and willing to wait, and even though they had to be annoyed with me saying, "Excuse me, do you live in Delhi? Can I see your ID?" Everyone, it was a great day, and we certainly did a lot of cleanup. And today's meeting has an entire list of some 20-odd nuisances. So that's how badly we need your attention to cleanup duty. Also, speaking cleanup duty, I just received a lovely letter written to compliment John Schill. And John Schill happens to be the gentleman who, on call, goes around and checks for debris and nuisances and property that needs some serious maintenance. And it's just so nice to have such a complimentary letter that one of our employees is doing a good job and how much they're appreciated. So thank you very much for this. I'll pass it along to John. Thank you.
Trustee Davis.
Yes, I would like to continue on the Delhi Cleanup Day. First of all, thanks to Dan Ryan and Ron Suppi, an incredible team, our administrator, Skylar, everybody who tries to make this a successful event. And again, I just throw some names out as some of the big ones that are there every year. And it's so appreciated. The employees, other volunteers, people just trying to help out. Even the gentleman who owns we pick up your junk, I don't know his name, but he and a couple others, they're always there to help out. I know that, for scrap metal and trying to find, but they're there, start to finish, and that's just so appreciated. And most of the residents, I think, are very appreciative of this free service, and many took great advantage of it with your U-Haul trucks and everything else full of junk and stuff to get out of the township. So good. Next year when it comes around, please set your clocks, your schedules, and go. So when we have to shut it down at 1, it's because been there all day, all morning, and 1 is 1. And we could be there literally, I think, for a week with people bringing their stuff. So thank you for your patience. Thanks for everyone who made it the incredible event that it is. I think each year. So
Can I add a thank you to that too?
this is my moment,
know,
Cheryl,
I
not
know.
yours.
But you know what? Every year we've had such a traffic nightmare with getting cars up and down Neeb Road, getting them into the lot, getting people around to Mount St. Joe's graduation. And so thank you, Delhi Police. It was nice not to be standing in the middle of Neeb Road directing traffic and actually have a person who knew how to do that. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. So those that bought the pizzas and everything, which was really great for all the volunteers, for all the police, even some fire personnel that showed up, it really is a team effort, and we appreciate that. That's what it's all about, and just trying to, again, keep Delhi clean and beautiful and getting some of the things out of there. Felt horrible for some of the residents, like on Glen Oaks and these others whose homes and basements got flooded by all the rain, and boy, did they show up with it. And it truly was waterlogged old couches. Oh, my gosh. But it was, and it truly, and again, extremely grateful, Ron and Dan, and just an incredible group. So thank you so much.
Also, to help alleviate some of that traffic, thank you to Krugler Law, who did the shredding a week earlier, or 2 weeks earlier. So that took a lot of the pressure off of the traffic. So thank you. I don't think we ever thanked him for doing that. All right. We have a couple of letters that we've also received. And this family took time to recognize everybody that helped with their father. It was the son and the daughter both, who unfortunately did pass away. But our first responders were there, and they just wanted to do a shout out about how the police made them feel less, I don't know how to say it, just, how they dealt with them in their total shock, because this was definitely a total shock when their father passed away. They said they made it the best of a terrible situation for them. So they particularly shouted out Officers Venemeyer and Moore, and then the firefighters, our first responders, Captain Alberts, firefighters Andrew Braun, Haley Dana Miller, Pete Gardner, Nick Morrow, Jeremy Nehe, Zeno Perry, and Noah Salmons. These were all people that made their terrible situation better, and they wanted us all to know how much that means for their compassion. Then also we as a board want to recognize, and some of you may not be aware, but it is, and I'm sure I'm not going to say this right, Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month. We all know it as ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. So we did a proclamation, if you can just give me a few minutes, it looks like. Whereas ALS, known by many as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive fatal neurodegenerative disease in which a person's brain loses connection with the muscles, slowly taking away their ability to walk, talk, eat, and eventually breathe. And whereas every 90 minutes someone is diagnosed with ALS and someone passes away from ALS. And whereas on average, patients diagnosed with ALS only survive 2 to 5 years from the time of diagnosis, and ALS has no cure. Whereas people who have served in the military are more likely to develop ALS and die from the disease than those with no history of military service. Whereas securing access to new therapies, durable medical equipment, and communication technologies is of vital importance to people living with ALS. And whereas clinical trials play a pivotal role in evaluating new treatments, enhancing quality of life, and fostering assistive technologies for those living with ALS. Whereas we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Ice Bucket Challenge through a renewed commitment to galvanize public awareness and support funding, leading to significant investments in research. And whereas the ALS Association, as the largest philanthropic funder of ALS research globally, has committed over $154 million to support more than 550 projects across the U.S. and 18 other countries. And whereas our commitment to accelerating the pace of discovery remains unwavering, fueled by the hope that one day ALS will be a livable disease for everyone, everywhere, until we can cure it. So therefore, we, the trustees of Delhi Township, do hereby declare the month of May 2024 as ALS Awareness Month in Delhi Township, We call upon all Americans to join in supporting ALS research, advocating for increased funding, and standing in solidarity with those affected by this relentless disease. And that was signed by the trustees today, May 15th, 2024. So it is, I think most of us have probably known somebody or know somebody that's dealing with this terrible disease. So our blessings out to all of them and their families. Okay, let's move on to the fire department.
We have a motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Matthew M. Dolly, effective May 17, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Dolly.
We have a motion to approve the promotion of Donald Burke as career firefighter medic in the fire department at the rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the IFF Local 3389, effective May 15, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Burke, firefighter Burke.
We have a motion to approve the hiring of Justin M. Schmidt as part-time firefighter EMT in the fire department at the rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the Delhi Firefighters Association upon successful completion of a voice stress analyzer, pre-employment physical, and drug testing, effective on May 15th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, welcome, Justin.
Motion to approve the hiring of Cameron J. Willis as part-time firefighter EMT in the fire department at the rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the Delhi Firefighters Association upon successful completion of a voice stress analyzer, pre-employment physical, and drug testing, effective on May 15th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, welcome, Cameron. Chief, what's going on?
Not much. As you can see here, a lot of personnel moves. So thank you to Matt Dolly. He did have to tender his resignation. He is trying to save money for medic school, hopes to come back in the future. But right now, his full-time job, he can pick up more hours than he can with us. So it ties into that. The promotion, Don was here for his swearing in just a month ago, so his anniversary is Friday. So he completed medic school in that period of time, so we're looking to use and abuse him as a paramedic. I know he's excited to take on that new certification level and training. And both Justin and Cameron then round out our personnel vacancies that we have. So this includes Matt's resignation, filling that spot, and Eric Mormon from last month. So we are back up to full staff and time for the summer as things get going. Just shout out to the crew on last Friday night. They made a structure fire on Palmerston where the owner was not home at the time, so it does lend itself to somebody else discovering it, and flames through the roof upon arrival and quickly extinguished the fire and save the house. So no injuries, nothing to report in that manner, and still under investigation. But however, can't thank the crews enough for how quickly they were able to intercede. And then the week before at Cleves Warsaw, Western Hills Retirement Center, had a small fire in the residence room that is sprinklered. Crews were able to get in there quickly. Again, response time, it makes up the minutes. You know, they get there quickly. The fire is still in a small phase, able to control it and reduce the damage. Much more in the way of water damage with a sprinkler than fire. But both instances, fantastic crews, different crews, but always doing a good job. They wear that Delhi Township patch on the side, so we don't individually recognize anybody outside of that. They're all working here for the group.
Great.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. All right. Parks and Recreation, Mr. Soupy.
I have nothing on the agenda, but I have a few updates. If you've been through the park, in between the rains of crews, catching up, mowing everything, beds, we are finishing up a couple projects. I met with Mobilecom this morning for our cameras, running up through Floral Paradise. A few changes, but it's in the works still. We're thinking about 2 to 3 weeks before install. The stage lighting project is finished. We got hydro seed down last Friday. Hopefully, a little luck, it'll come up before the concert coming up next week. I think it looks pretty well when all the lights are on. It's very nice. So let's see. The senior center windows, HVAC, are coming to completion. There is one window that will be replaced this week to finish that out. HVAC will finish this week as well. And we're going to start moving on the dog park change. We still have scheduled practice and games down on Field 9 till the end of June. So after that, we'll start doing all the basics, underground trenching, drainage, taking down the ball field, fencing, netting, bleachers, that kind of thing. So other than that, everybody's busy trying to catch up with all the rain, maintenance, everything going on. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I had some one on signage up there with more and more people coming into the park now, the better weather, and it's quite the melting pot when you go up there in the evenings. I mean, really,
Yeah.
every possible, I don't even know the words for it, every possible element of families, young, old, everybody coming up there, whether for the lake or the kids' play area and everything. But the one thing that maybe we should look at also, because you have more coming in, and I've seen a couple on social media network feeling, oh, it's not safe, whatever. But maybe we should have that like signage, like a bigger sign at the kids' area also just says, here's the rules, so you clearly see them.
Yeah.
That might be something just,
We have a couple kiosks right now, and we're ready to update them as well.
Awesome.
They're at the beginning of the park, and they're at McDonald's side of the park, the south end as well. We could always add a few here and there for basic rules at each area.
Yeah, because as they're rolling in the park from Delhi or Foley, they're not looking at that sign as they're rolling through.
And,
so.
and honestly, truth, they're not looking at really a lot of signs. So,
Yeah. No, I get it.
so
But it is something, at least we know the rules, so
Yeah.
if an officer does show up, it's
right there.
very clear, yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
And Randy, what about making those signs also in Spanish?
Yeah, we could do that as well.
You'll do that as well? Okay, very good. I want to compliment you on how well the HVAC is working in the senior center.
I did hear.
We nearly froze. But it was nice and cool. It was great. And we were all looking for blankets, but the presentation at the Historical Society was chilling.
All right. And then honestly, it was probably set for the previous units. So now, yeah, it needs a little adjustment.
And of
here.
course, they wanted to touch the thermostat, and I was like, oh, no, don't
Yeah,
touch
they can
it.
get a hold of us in contact. We'll get a hold of Dan, and he runs most of the
Okay.
control units on those.
But the good news was, and that's what I kept pointing out, hey, it's new and it works.
Yes.
But we're cold.
Randy, fishing started already?
Yeah, it was a little bit of they jumped the gun promoting it, but it was a month early. It's fine. People are up there doing it. It's not a big difference, and the weather has been nice. I believe the past one Friday was raining, but the previous one was nice. So we went ahead and went with it, and decided to just leave it open.
And just so, because it's recorded, they do not need a fishing license.
No fishing license. Delhi residents. It is catch and release. It's dusk to dawn in certain areas of the park. There, it's marked. Towards the evening times when it gets crowded, they do tend to spread out a little more. It does get crowded, so we're leaving that go a little bit here and there.
So somebody doesn't get hooked?
Yes.
Yeah, got it. But catch and release, Delhi residents, restricted area. Okay. Farmers markets begin?
Farmers market will begin June 1st, first Saturday.
Every Saturday,
Yes.
yes, okay. Those are just questions that have been
Yes.
coming, across.
Yeah, and I'm sure I didn't want to step on Skylar's toes with a couple of the events coming up. I figure we'll just be double tracking. But yeah, we have the concert series coming up.
Yes.
Farmers markets. We have a few things coming up, the Veterans Memorial, everything. So that's all going to be coming up. I figured they could post it and let them see it all.
Definitely,
So.
definitely, yeah.
Randy, we're
Okay.
still waiting on Motorola for the cameras at Floral Paradise. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I just met with them this morning.
Okay, great.
Yeah, they had to change a few things, which it did change the dog park location. We had a spot there, so some cameras have been changed and options. So I met with them this morning. He's going to work the new plan out. It should be about 2 to 3 weeks. He figured he can get stuff back in.
Awesome.
So, yep.
Oh, glad to see you're not just sitting behind a desk.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy.
Thank you to you and your group and everything they do.
Yeah, the whole crew, everybody's
It's
busy.
looking great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Randy.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the police department. Chief Braun. Hello. Okay, we have a motion.
We have a motion to approve the hiring of Peyton A. Tricase as police officer in the police department at the first year rate per the collective bargaining agreement with the Delhi Police Association upon successful completion of the background investigation, psychological testing, pre-employment physical, drug testing and obtaining Ohio Peace Officer certification effective on May 15th, 2024.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, welcome, Peyton.
So obviously, our process is long. Sometimes it's drawn out, not on purpose, but what we've actually institutionalized is ride-alongs with the officers. We want them to be able to fit in with the family. So he's had 4 or 5 ride-alongs as part of the interview process, and he gets along with everybody. He knows our mission. He knows what we expect from our police officers, and I think he'll be a great ambassador for us.
Okay, great. Have some updates for us?
I do. Thank you for so eloquently covering Police Memorial Week and Day for me. Obviously, that's well and dear to our heart, and it's obviously in place so we never forget those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. So thank you for that. As far as updates in the police department, obviously the first quarter I haven't really talked about numbers since January, so I wanted to kind of go over a few numbers with you all so you know where we're at. We've seen a 14% decrease in crashes from 2023. And a 31% decrease over 2022. So those are, knock on wood, those are good numbers. Incidents as far as for the first quarter of the last couple years, we've seen an 18% increase this year compared to last, and an 8% increase over 2022. So,
Can you identify what an incident is?
so anytime we go anywhere, it's an incident, whether it's dispatched from our
Okay.
police station or from the comm center. Comm center incidents are up a little bit, but not a whole lot. But as far as dispatches from the station or self-initiated, those are all included in incidents. So we're up 18%. The good news is so far in crime, knock on wood again, we're 33% less than last year. So that's huge. And 29%.
Repeat that, Chief, I'm sorry.
33% less crime in 2024 compared to the first quarter of 23, and 29% less than 2022. So we're seeing an increase in incidents, but crime is less. So I don't want to jinx ourselves, but that's awesome. I mean, thanks for the citizens. Thanks for you all giving us everything we need to do our jobs. So thank you for that. But other than that, I really don't have anything else unless you have any questions. It's good news, obviously.
Good news, we love it. We have a Memorial Sunday,
We do, but it's not open to the public.
not open to the public. Okay, forget I said that.
Yeah, it's designed to be intimate with the police families and the retired people and DCPA, and
Great.
so yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Okay,
Anything else?
questions?
Chief, I have an incident I would like to share with you that happened up in your Delhi Park. I was rolling by, a buddy of mine they were playing up in the kids area with their daughter, and just texted, said, "Are you in the area?" I said, "What? Would you just swing through?" And I'm like, "Sure." And you could hear somebody was playing their music over by the kids area, and it was blasting, and it was inappropriate language. And she says, "I've asked him 3 times to turn it down." Finally, after about 10 minutes, I guess a couple other parents came, and he finally turned it down. Yeah, it was inappropriate. It was right there. But meanwhile, there was a gentleman who had his pickup truck parked right there, and his hood was up, and he's working on his car, which we all know by the rules that it's not allowed to work on your cars in Delhi Park. So I'm kind of watching this unfold, and with that, one of your officers rolled up and got out and walked over. Now, at that point, the place was packed. It literally was packed. Teenagers, you name it. And the officer comes over, and I'm just kind of watching it unfold, and he kind of was trying to see if he could help him a little bit, which I was like, no, that's really cool. It's about 5 minutes into it, another cruiser rolls up, and with that, his blue lights are flashing because he's parked behind the other cruiser, and he's blocking, that traffic. And with that, you see some of those that seem to take another concern for what is going on, what are you doing? And I thought, now this is really going to be interesting. And they kind of started to come, just kind of like watching, like, why are you harassing them type of attitude. And it truly was. You could see where they were going. Mm-hmm. And Brad Durger, your officer, got out as corporal?
Correct.
Yeah. Gets out with a jumper box to jump the guy's car. It was so cool. It was so, quote, de-escalating, if you would.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking, you might say. I can't remember the other gentleman's name with the reddish hair and,
Officer Williams?
yeah, what's his first?
Chet.
Yes. They were awesome. And nobody was, like, oh, no. They're trying to get this guy's car started, helping him with his battery. They didn't have a jumper in the first unit, so they got Brad. Brad came over and brought. I just thought, you know what? That's the stuff that should be on Social Meanness Network. We should actually show you how good people are. And, you know, it was just kind of a community event to get this guy's car started, but something that looked like this is going south quick.
Yeah, I will say that, you know, and we've talked about it, all of us have talked about it before, but 95% of the things we do are service-related. They're not crime-related, you know, so we're a service-oriented department, and that's what we do. We take pride in that. That's what the residents expect, and that's what we do. And, you know, our officers know that that's what's expected of them, and they pull through, and it's a proud moment, so thank you.
It was great.
Thank you.
Good.
Anything else?
We love PR. No, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Okay. Public Works, Mr. Rippinger.
Hello.
Hi.
No, nothing on the agenda, but just a couple little updates. There is a water main break on Delhi Pike. Doesn't seem to be affecting traffic yet. They got it coned off. I don't have a time frame when they'll be there, but I think they'll only block one lane. The Greenwell.
Whereabouts on Delhi Pike.
Where?
Oh, okay.
It's a
Oh,
long
sorry.
street.
Close to the.
Close to-
Yeah, close to the mount.
course.
Over the. Let's see, Greenwell, there is a Duke tie-in project going on, and we recently find out they had like a bunch of patches, and that road was paved not that long ago. But they are going to be paving the lane that they're doing all the work in. I know Skylar had asked, so good news. Anderson Ferry, I don't know what project that is, but down to one lane as you go down toward the ferry. I don't know. It must be some kind of emergency repair to like a sewer line. They're working pretty deep there. So we've had a couple calls on that. But traffic's still moving on that. Let's see. Stormwater. Been a little busy with stormwater complaints. I think everybody probably seen the Bender Road landslide that covers the street with about 3 or 4 feet of gravel, probably every 3 or 4 years. I think it happens usually when the ground's saturated and everything just happens at the wrong time, I guess. So they got that cleaned up pretty good. I know Sailor Park got hit pretty good. Plenty of residents with water in the basements. I know we're still getting a lot of calls, and I got to head to another complaint here shortly. But definitely busy with that. Hopefully the rain has slimmed down on some of the big rains anyway. That'd be nice. Let's see. Any other questions?
No, I appreciate the recent information from the city of Cincinnati that you've been dealing with on those speed bumps down in Lower Fairbanks there, which again, as a reminder, that's in the city of Cincinnati. That's not us. I saw someone again send us a contact about what we're doing there on Lower Delhi. We're not doing anything. The city of Cincinnati is, and I appreciate you, Ron, digging in to try and say, where did the speed bumps come from? What's going on with them? And the one gentleman, I don't remember what his name was, who's heading this with the city of Cincinnati. What is his name?
Bob. Let's see. Vickery?
What was it?
Vickery?
Vickery?
Bob Dickery?
With a V. Vickery.
Dickery?
Vickery.
With a V.
Yes.
V as in Victor. Okay. Vickery. Okay.
And I've been talking to a couple different people from that department, and originally they just told me that it triggered the protocol for a safety inspection, and that's what added the traffic light. And then Bob had the chain emails where Saddamsville had actually requested the traffic calming.
Right.
So
So
that
it
was,
was,
yeah, just the information didn't get spread through the city department. So, but
so someone requested those speed bumps, and so now we have speed bumps down there because of the accidents, which, and again, because I've been here all my life, the accidents happen around the bend as you're coming down Fairbanks because it gets wet or slick or ice and your car sidewinds. So you'll see cars all the time. But unfortunately, the speed bumps where they have them have nothing to do with that bend in the road. So it makes absolutely no sense. So as great and as happy and as proud as they seem to be of these speed bumps and the future of an upcoming light there and their speed bumps uphill, which makes absolutely no sense. I'm glad the city of Cincinnati is so damn proud of what they're doing. I applaud the residents of Delhi who have had patience with it. I applaud those that look up and see these cars slamming their brakes on for these speed bumps, although the city put up signs, speed bumps, speed 30 miles an hour. Go over the speed bumps, 30, they're telling you 30 miles an hour on the speed bumps. Makes absolutely no sense. So Bob and those others that you've spoken to, thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing. Listening to a couple down there, and maybe the apartment renters down there wanted to stop light too. So at 11, 12 o'clock on a Friday, Saturday night, we can all sit there at that red light. Just sit there and hope that nothing happens, which, by the way, just a few days ago, again, went by, and the police, fire, squads, everybody down there again. Those are the records that they should be looking at, not fender benders on that bend. If I had an opinion, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I know the township doesn't do speed bumps. Hamilton County doesn't do them. A lot of them don't, but there is a handful that do, and some of them are really proud of them. So
People said Dansville is why they put
Dansville.
these in, but they don't have to deal with them because they're below it.
Right, they don't deal with them, and you put a whole turn lane in for 4 homes, maybe 4.
Yeah, okay.
It's just crazy. But again, the city has all this wonderful money, I guess, selling the railroad and can do whatever they want. But they had them on Glenway, but they took them out. Why'd you take them out on Glenway where you really needed them?
I mentioned that, definitely. I think there was 3 or 4 at one time, and now there's 1 in front of a school, which that
Appropriate.
yes, correct. I agree.
That's why we live out here and not in there. Thank
All
you,
right.
Ron.
That's all I got. Any questions on anything else?
Thanks,
All we
Ron.
have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for going to bat for us.
Yeah.
You tried.
I
The
know.
residents should be appreciative of it. You tried.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, administration, Mr. Miller.
All right.
We have a resolution 2024-51 authorizing the township administrator to spend greater than $10,000 on behalf of the township and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution, Mr. Miller?
Very briefly, we have, this is a safety service stacked spending authority resolution. We have 2 items for the police department regarding new vehicles and their associated equipment. And then the other item is some additional laryngoscopes. Yeah, did I say that right? Okay. As well as new kind of upgraded door security at their facilities. We're going to bring the firehouses up to the same standard that we have at DTS now, utilizing that same technology. The goal is to eventually bring all of our buildings under that same, network system.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-52, entering into a memorandum of understanding with the University of Cincinnati to participate and serve as a corporate sponsor for the University of Cincinnati's online degree programs and online certificate programs to benefit township employees, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Miller?
The title of this is really self-explanatory. This is no cost to the township. We are able to promote these online programs to our staff members, and in turn, our staff members will receive discounted tuition for these programs.
Good.
Okay.
So
I move-
there's a Xavier version of this floating around right now that'll work its way to the board, hopefully before the next semester starts up
Great.
in the fall.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. You have a report up for us? Yay.
I only have one picture today to talk about, I'm officially done giving you guys pictures of empty rooms. So we're just going to talk about this. The site work, the paving that is coming to an end. It's just the very north section of the site, the main entrance that's being paved right now. There will be some touch-up work here and there. But essentially, the flat work outside is coming to a close. We still have signage to do. You can see that the turf has been pulled up to put those bases in. Patio bar is still underway with an expected finish by the end of June. But the exciting thing is we are 16 days away from making Delhi Town Square open to our public, to our residents, which means the athletic club will be opening on June 1st. Next week is Chaos Week, I suppose. We've got furniture coming. The murals are going to start coming in. Fitness equipment is coming. So lots of activity on site to make it a fully furnished facility for for our Delhi residents and guests. I will do a brief plug for our athletic club. Become a founding member of the Delhi Athletic Club at Delhi Town Square and receive a 0 enrollment fee, which is normally $95, and you will also receive a founding member t-shirt. The deadline to sign up as a founding member is Saturday, May 18th. So come on in. You can tour the facility. We're now open 7 days a week. You can schedule a tour there. You can even sign up online now. So if you're interested, please go to DelhiAthleticClub.com.
Great. And the apartments, there's only one apartment left, or was that leased?
I checked in with them yesterday. At the end of the day, we have one unit available.
One
No.
unit available, which is a record for them.
It is indeed. So they're so excited. They want to continue partnering, and they're looking for other opportunities in our community.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Any numbers on enrollment in the athletic club yet? I heard it was a pretty good
As
one.
it stands right now, we have over 300 members. The goal, that's not necessarily memberships. I'd have to check on that. I think it's close to 200. We're hoping to open our doors with about 400 membership accounts. So that could be upwards of 800 members. Again, our goal target, where we will essentially maybe not do a hard stop, but the goal stop is 2,100 memberships.
Okay,
So we are on track. This is
they're on track.
especially opening an athletic club in the summer. Generally, the winter months are a little more aggressive with signups. These are really good numbers. So
Great.
Very
Everybody's
excited.
happy right now. Great, all right. All right, economic development, Ms. Pearson. Department update.
Good afternoon. I only have a couple of items to comment on. One is that we were able to give a tour to Sherry Coolidge of the Cincinnati Enquirer on Monday morning. She's going to be writing an article about Delhi Town Square, and it's coming out tomorrow. So she had called with some questions and had seen the athletic club and was going to do a story without seeing the rest of the building. And I said, please come and see. And she was blown away. Her words were, how did we get this in Delhi? And I said, 10 years of leadership and hard work.
There you go.
I think she started with the PLK leasing office, and I think it was kind of a kind of spontaneous migration over to our building.
Was it an announced visit, or who all was in on the?
No, it was just me. She had my number from my past life.
Gotcha.
And called me, and I said, I'll meet you. So
She was, like I said, she was over at the leasing office.
she was asking where the co-working space was, and I said, we don't have co-working space. And she said, the leasing office, somebody at PLK, not the leasing office, told her that. I said, you got to come see it. So anyway, in the
Good.
future, we've always had you involved in the media events, and I will touch base with y'all afterwards. So the Take 5 oil change that is currently under construction with excavation work that RAC is doing, their construction schedule is to have the building completed and open by July 20th. So they did hit some hiccups, I think I mentioned that before, but just a FYI. And then the Wingstop had their final inspections with the fire department, and they have a soft opening date of June 3rd. We've reached out to do a ribbon cutting, both by phone, by text message, phone message, and email, and haven't heard anything back, so I'm sure they're busy, but we'll just want to let you know that.
Anything on the recent dollar stores announcing their closings? I assume Delhi is maintaining. You haven't heard anything, right?
I have not seen any stores from Delhi being listed in those stories.
And our occupancy rate on Delhi Pike, which I know what it is, but can you tell what our occupancy rate is on Delhi Pike?
I will have to check for Delhi Pike specifically.
It's single digits.
Oh,
It
yes.
is, I know it's single digits.
Actually, Tony collects it for the entire township.
Through the whole township, trustee Davis, about 5.3%.
Exactly. 5.3%. That's it. That is incredible.
And if I remember, 4 years ago, it was 30? It was pretty high.
Before Greg took over.
No, yeah. So, yeah, that down to 5.3. Thank you for people who believe in Delhi. What?
Good.
Thanks, Joy.
You look like you wanted to say something.
No, not at all. I'm good.
And actually, it's the vacancy rate is what we're talking about. Vacancy rate of storefronts. Yep. All right, very good. Community development. It looks like you're the star today.
This is what I was teeing up for. I was about to tell Jim to, get a drink, catch a
Yeah. All righty.
All right, Tony, today's your day, buddy.
All right, so we've got Resolution 2024-53, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4207 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Well, good afternoon, trustees.
Hello.
I like the way that sounds, afternoon. So I'm just going to let you guys get your work there. If you have any questions, feel free to please stop and ask me any, but I'll let Mr. Luby and your board just take it away.
And if I hear right, you were able to get 8 knocked off today. So
Yeah, about 7 or 8.
7 or 8
Trustee
knocked
Ray-
off,
Our
so.
trustee starts, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we started out about 30-29 and was able to remove about 8. Yep.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-54, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5037 Chantilly Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Looks like the same. Yard debris. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Roll. Mr. Libby, please call roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-55, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5331 Dell Hill Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
That looks like a lot of the stuff you took at cleanup day.
Should have brought it. Yep.
Exactly. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-56, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5521 Cove Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
And just FYI, trustees as well, about a month prior to cleanup day, we put inserts for the cleanup day into our letters that we send out as well.
Oh, a little hint.
Nice. Good
move.
attempt.
Good move, Mr. Roach. I introduce and move the
No.
Yeah, I introduce.
I
No,
move to
where am
dispense.
I?
I move to dispense.
I second the adoption. No, that's Davis. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Thank you, Stevie. I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. See what happens when we move to the day? We're out of whack. Okay.
Resolution 2024-57, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 567 Greenwell Avenue, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I will second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-58, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5575 Palisades Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Big yard, tall grass.
To sum it up,
That's what it is. Okay.
expensive mow job to come.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-59, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 427 Kitty Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? This is just stuff sitting out on the sidewalk. They just dumped a bunch
That's
of
it.
stuff.
It's a rear interior garage, Trustee Sturts, and it's sitting in the driveway.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
the backyard.
That's the backyard. It's a corner lot, yes.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-60, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 3930 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the
Any
resolution.
discussion on the resolution?
Looks like tall grass.
Lots of it.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-61, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4900 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution. Is that in the right-of-way?
That's Urgent Care's parking lot, right there at the sidewalk.
Urgent care. Yeah. Trum-bum.
Yeah, exactly. I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution? I think we just
I
had
move to
it.
dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-62, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5540 Rapid Run Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this
I
resolution.
second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-63, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 492 Burhan Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution? Just a pile of tires, right? Yeah, okay.
And they missed cleanup day.
Yeah.
Took a lot of tires.
A
Yeah.
lot of tires.
Yep.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-64, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 465 Burhan Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Tall grass. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this
All
resolution.
those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-65, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 4605 Foley Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Oh, I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution. That's all out in the driveway, right?
Yes, and that's as we know it is Rosemont. It's Foley Road, but it's actually Rosemont.
But
as
it's
we know
actually,
Rosemont.
it's at Rosemont.
That's correct.
Okay.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-66, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5313 Romance Lane, declaring an emergency and dispense with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this
Any
resolution.
discussion on the resolution?
Debris.
Accumulate, yeah. Maybe construction debris?
I move
That's
to
what's like-
dispense with the second reading of this
I
resolution.
second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-67, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 3940 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Tall grass. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-68, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 1032 Beach Meadow Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the
Any
resolution.
discussion on the resolution?
Is this also a junk vehicle?
Not yet.
I don't think it meets the definition of a junk motor vehicle trespass.
Doesn't meet the, okay.
But
I
this
moved
is an
to,
occupied home, though, too.
I'm sorry?
I think this is an occupied
It
home.
is occupied
Yeah.
home, and it's
Yeah.
a regular customer.
Yes, okay.
yeah, that's what I thought. I move to dispense with the second reading of this
I
resolution.
second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-69, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 1066 Beach Meadow Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Tall grass. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-70, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4062 Mardon Place, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
No. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-71, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5353 Meadowwood Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this
I
resolution.
second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-72, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5819 Faisal Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
More tall grass?
More tall grass. No. I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2024-73, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 589 Rockwell Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of this
Any
resolution.
discussion on this resolution? That's another
Kim-
occupied building.
Accumulated
It
debris.
is occupied.
It's occupied also. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. And the last one.
Resolution 2024-74, declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 1219 Pine Knot Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution?
Yeah, so you can see the yards mowed, and every year we kind of go around with this gentleman, owner of this property. He just does take care of the landscaping beds, but once he gets our second letter, we'll probably typically nudge him in the right direction to finish the job.
So that's not landscaping, that's weeds?
Well, yeah, well, yes, that's
Right.
weeds, yes. But it's in, yes, it's weeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Curated weeds.
It's like 3-foot-high weeds.
Okay. I move to dispense with the second reading of this
I
resolution.
second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Tony, you have time for a department update?
Sure. Besides this stuff going on, obviously, I sent out the report. We had a BZA hearing last week for two oversized structures, and they both were approved by the BZA. So that we wrapped that up. Also, this morning, I had the opportunity to talk with the project manager for 889 Anderson Ferry, which is Allison Landscaping property. Hope I don't jinx us, but allegedly they have secured a demo contractor. So we're just waiting for a date to see when they can start that project. Now, that's not the construction, that's just the raising of the properties. And Mr. Luby, I did reiterate that we did have a local person may be interested in some of the greenhouse glass as well. So if I get a contact.
Great, thank you.
Other than that,
Great
besides,
news. People will be happy. Any comments?
If I can ask for just a little bit of time, I'm going to put Tony on the spot here. So not too bad. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, when you're working with these folks on, tall grass or, trash and debris, how long are you working with them? Or, how long is the contact before it gets to the board?
depending on how the trustees meetings falls, it could be a 2-week process before it even makes it to your board. And then another 7 days after your board declares them a nuisance. So, 3 to 4 weeks tops, max, before. And, we take phone calls, voluntary compliance is the best compliance that we try to get. We knock on doors, we leave cards, we send letters.
You gave everybody a courtesy notice about the cleanup day?
Yes, we put that in there. Like I said, about a month prior to this past Saturday, we put the flyer in the first letter we send out.
All right. And if any of these folks contacted you tomorrow and said, hey, my property's all cleaned up, what happens? What's the penalty for having a resolution on the agenda?
Just a lot of hours for community development. There's no penalty.
Right, but no penalty for the residents. So the point I'm getting at is these guys are doing a heck of a job. It's all about being proactive, and these residents are not the bad guys. We're just trying to resolve an issue in the community, and as soon as it's resolved, these things go away.
Right.
So abatement is always the last resort, and hats off to the community development team that that try and stay on top of this.
Very much so. So just be a good neighbor out there. Your neighbors don't want to look at it. And we don't go seeking these either, right? We're not driving around looking for them. They come to us.
We do have areas that give us a little bit more difficulty than others that we know are maybe vacant properties or whatever, that we do keep an eye on, Trustee Rose or Sturts. And, but we just try to get ahead of the curve because we don't want the grass getting 3 and 4 foot tall. So.
Some of that grass looked like jungle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's another issue. Once it hits the threshold of being in violation at, is it 8 inches?
12 inches.
12 inches. Okay, so at 12 inches, again, it could be up to, 2 or 3 weeks before it hits, the board's review. So that 12 inches has now become, 18 or even 2 feet, depending on how rainy it is.
Right.
And, and then it's another week. It could be a hayfield before we're able to,
Right.
take it down. So, these guys have to stay proactive to a certain degree.
Right.
With all the people that came through cleanup day, you think they would turn to their neighbor and say, hey, you just missed a terrific opportunity to clean up your mess.
Or tell them before.
I can't tell you, we lost count of how many mattresses and box springs we took, couches. There was a gentleman that in a storm, his 10 by 12 shed blew over, and the entire shed ended up in one of the township dumpsters. So,
Yep.
there's definitely an opportunity to take care of the trash.
Timing was kind of good for him. God bless him, yeah.
Absolutely.
Mr. Pacheco?
Yeah, I've said it on a handful of times before. When I started in January of 19 and looked at your nuisance process, I'm like, this is good. Mr. Lane deserves credit. The prior board deserves credit. The prior administration deserves credit. Mr. Roach and his staff. This is like a model of how you do it. And it's a model not only of process and due process that's required, it's also a model of code compliance. We're not looking for fine generation. We're looking for code compliance. And I appreciate and have used this model in some of my other jurisdictions. So, again, the board ought to be complimented, the administration and how they do it. Again, code compliance is what we're looking for. We're not looking for fine development or fine generation.
Right. Yeah,
Thank
because it's not a revenue enhancer for us. We're not making money for that, right? No, we're just covering our costs.
It doesn't even cover our
Doesn't even
costs.
cover our costs. Okay, thank you.
And we are not in the landscape business,
Right, well,
or the mowing business, or
junk business.
the
yeah.
junk business.
All righty, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we do have somebody signed in to speak. Gary, is it Vix, V-I-X? Okay, can you approach the podium, sir? He lives at 4201 Skylark Drive, and he's here to talk about a police officer.
Hit that button on the base of the mic.
On the microphone, please. Janet, can you help him? Okay, there we go. Yeah.
So you can see I'm probably shaking bad. But I got tears in my eyes seeing Jeff Brown. I had Jeff Brown and Richard Schmaltz on my soccer team back in the 70s, and he was a pain.
He does know you.
God bless his dad and Richard's dad. They didn't know nothing about soccer. I came from England, and his dad picked up so good. You was with the Mustangs, I had the Hawks. Your dad beat my team 2-1, and I ain't forgot that from 1977. So,
Memories.
so your dad, and now you being Richard's boss. But I'm so proud of you, Jeff, and this is why I'm here today. None of my grandkids, nobody wants to be a policeman anymore. They don't get no respect. And I'm a single grandpa. I have been for 4 years. My granddaughter's 15 now, has made the honor roll up at Oak Hill, so very happy with that. Mom and Dad was on drugs. Thank the good Lord I get enough income with my pension, look after it. But you guys bullying and her not having anybody protect her except an old guy. So a car full of kids from the school came, so an exit my house, cussing, effing, and whoring, and ooh. Hey, a long time ago, I was a bad guy, Jeff. That's why I went coaching soccer. And it come out of me. It came out of me. I wanted to go after, hey, what am I going to do against a group of kids, 16 in a car full, throw it? But I would have done. You know, I'm not going to say, I don't have a gun, I got rid of that. I'm not, you know. But that blood builds up in you as a parent. It was easy. You go out there and you go knocking on the parent's door, and to see all these streets, Jeff, that I had kids play soccer on. Palisades? The Palisades got a new, when I came from England back, my dad took me there. I lived on Woody Hill. And wow, I said, what a great place this would be to live, and then to see all these streets. What the heck's happened? But hey, so I was union steward for 20 years, sheet metal worker, and you got so much good thing going on, and then you get stuff like that. Boy, I'm glad I don't have to do this every month. I'm glad I'm retired. But the reason I'm here is, you know, I went to the Delhi police after this happened Friday. They said, do you want to send an officer out? I said, nah, Friday night, they're busy as heck. It's not life-threatening. I'll come in, which I did Sunday. And I got an officer, Matt Coldiron. Now, I didn't know his name when I first met him, but hey, I was telling him, hey, look, don't make me defend my family at 76. I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, I don't want to be in here, and I don't want the kids to get in trouble like I did a long time ago, and that follow you through life. And I started talking to the officer, and I said, you got any kids? And he said, no. I thought, man, I'm not going to get nowhere here. He don't know what it's like to be a dad to defend your daughter. And I'll be daggone. When I said, what's your name? And he said, Cold Iron. I said, Matt? And he said, yeah. I said, I'm your mom, work with my wife and your auntie. And I said, yeah, I know it. Man, I took you to the zoo, took you out camping when you was about, and he was not like him, you know, outgoing, Jeff. Outgoing, and Richard. But he was brought up by a single parent, his grandma, because his mom passed away with cancer. He went to the kid's house, went seeing the mom and dad, and guess what? No dad, heroin addict, so went seeing the mother, all to get me to calm down, not get all worked up, and just like on the soccer field, if I'm getting knocked around on the soccer field, I'd go to the ref and I'd say, hey, ref, you see what he's doing, elbowing me and kicking me in the back? If you ain't going to protect me, I'm going to have to protect myself. You know, so what's it going to be? And thank goodness for Matt Cold Iron. I'm so glad you're here, Jeff. And him not having, what a great kid. And another thing, Ethan, the kid I talked to, he wants to be a police. Nobody wants to be a police. Would you want to be a police officer? Tell the truth. Don't lie. You'd rather sing down at Jim Jack's. Come on now. Who would want to be a police officer besides them two nuts? Anybody else? Anybody else? So, hey, that Ethan kid, Jeff, he wants to be a police officer. I don't know who does the hiring. God bless him, because and Joe Rui, he's another one I knew, and his dad. Who's ever doing the hiring, that'll be pat on the back.
That's your buddy.
There you go.
Well, I got to pat him on the back, too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. So, next to our kids, I think the police officers are our number one resource, along with the park. So I'm so glad he was here today, and I'd like you to see Matt and thank him. And I'm sure he didn't think I was going to. I'll be daggone it. He's got it right there.
He's got it.
Wow,
Perfect.
man. Well, there you go. So I appreciate that. Could I ask a couple of more questions?
Sure.
All right.
You made your visit
What's
to see
going
us.
in
We're
at the
glad
White-
to see you.
What's going in at the White Castle?
We know nothing.
Nothing at the
Nothing yet.
moment.
Correct.
Okay, at Foley and Pedretti, what's going on there that they're building?
That's the Episcopal.
Episcopal Home is putting in affordable housing for elderly.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
One other thing, I was at Gordon's Foods yesterday and asking the guy, and I said, yeah, I'm glad you're not around the corner. I spend all my money here. And he said, I live in Delhi. And he lives behind the new apartments. And he's telling me, right back in Mount Alverno, all their basements have been flooding out. Nobody know nothing about that?
It's not because of the development, right? No, it's not because of the development. We've just had
And
to.
he said MSD has been there talking about putting pumps in their yards. They're thinking maybe they might have to sell the property down the road, like my buddy Joe the plumber on Rapid Run. I'm only going to see him about a month from now. I'm sure you're aware of it.
Yeah, Mr. Rippinger, he can
I
help
mean,
you
they're
on this.
pretty down, and I don't blame you. He only bought the house 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a big FEMA project years ago, just like Rapid Run.
Oh,
buyout.
okay.
So a lot of the houses were offered, fair market value for their houses, but
Yeah, and-
it's voluntary. So
Okay, yeah, and that's
it's been going on for years.
fair market. Yeah, I got you. So it's not, it weren't the engineers and the planners looking at building all the apartments. They would look to see if them houses would flood, wouldn't they?
Correct.
And it's because the water ain't getting out of there quick enough. Is that correct?
Well, that was a lot of rain, and I think that fills up
Very much. You
for a
ain't kidding,
long
it
time.
was, yeah.
Yeah. The development has its own stormwater detention on site.
So
We actually
it's
have,
separate.
yeah, three underground basins, so we actually added volume, essentially
was
there. So
just-
we added capacity.
So him thinking they're all going to have to sell their houses down the road, and that's what he said he's being told by MSD, not really fact.
Nah, no, that ship kind of sailed. Like I said, that was in 2003-ish,
So this
2004.
just happened?
No, it's been going on for years.
Oh,
there.
okay, all right.
They already removed about 6-7 houses, I think, years ago, and the project's over. So
Now, everything, being a union steward, I used to write everything down, but I got one other question. And Mike, you said people don't speed uphill. Well, they do. Where I live on Skylark, they fly from Delhi Pike up Roebling. And you guys, Jeff, put speed signs there. And I can hear in my front room on the first house, I could tell the speed shut down. But then you had to move the radar things, correct? You put it somewhere else. It did help. But my question would be, my back driveway is right there. You'd be more than well if you'd want a police car there to park, or is that possible? Or I think it would help, and if they want a cup of coffee and a donut, you know, I know you.
Oh, not a donut.
Eat me 2 to 1. No, but I'm deadly serious.
Yeah.
If ever you would want to park there, it'd be great.
We have your address.
Well, thank you. And 5.3,
% vacancy.
Vacancy.
and you wouldn't believe what we talk about, you know.
Yeah.
And when Mark Duber, he played on my team too, his dad, when we put in that, took the park where Mike's car wash is now, and, you know, I was mad. I think that was about 84 maybe. And Mark Duver's dad said, well, that's progress, Gary. And then seeing nothing be there, and once you take away from the park, you ain't getting it back. So I just like, if ever any development comes, please don't touch our parks. You know, I wish we still had it there, but we don't. One other thing, you know, I'm on that aggregate for the electric, what we get through Delhi citizens. Do they actually help us out by you getting all these customers? Do they do anything for the parks or for the schools?
Talking about the energy aggregation?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's not really a whole lot of grants, but, you know, every person that's on that, on average, you're probably saving, you know, at least on the electric side right now, probably $20 or $30. You know,
Well, yeah, I'm
it's
glad
just
to get it.
Yeah. But
there's
they don't
not-
donate to us.
But
They don't
they don't-
donate to
No,
us.
no.
Not on, no. That's not.
Do they come to you and try and negotiate?
So they act as kind of our advocate or our broker, if you will, with all these energy companies. So they bid out the energy prices to try and drive down the you know, that aggregate rate.
Well, I appreciate it, especially I got at least 3 or 4 people come every week knocking on the door. Direct Energy was
Trying.
there, and I just send them away with that. But I'll get out of your way now. I got the retirees meeting up Patrick's, and what stuck in my head, it's 5.3%.
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Vacancy. Yep.
Thank you.
Jeff. Tell Schmaltzy I said hi, and thanks for looking after me. I'm out of here. What time is it, please?
It is 2:18.
18.
Well,
Have one for us, Mr. Zix. Vix. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming in.
Yep. I'll if I can take a moment just to touch on something briefly, because I have received some calls from the public about this. Keep in mind what was on this site before Delhi Town Square. It was a small shopping center originally from the late 1960s. All right, it was a paved parking lot with, you know, with one big building on the back. Okay, all of that surface, all of that hard surface drained into that catch basin. And before that before that stormwater basin was there, it was just running into the sewers, and that's part of the big flood. Okay, as part of the engineering, something you don't see when you're driving by this site are 3 underground stormwater detention basins. Okay, so we have these big pipes underground. They're collecting all of the stormwater from the site, and it's detaining it for a period of time, delaying the flow into that basin and ultimately delaying the flow downstream to mitigate any impact of these storm events. We received 3.5 inches in a very short period of time, during that storm event. So, pretty much nowhere is designed to handle that type of volume. What I can tell you with absolute certainty is that this site is having a beneficial impact downstream for people impacted by stormwater. Okay, this is a better designed, better engineered site than what you had before.
Thank you for clarification.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. So now we have time for announcement of community events.
Back up here. Kids, Cops, and Firefighters Queen of Hearts fundraiser every Friday night at Jim and Jack's on the river. A Queen of Hearts raffle is a fundraising raffle where participants buy tickets for a chance to win a cash prize. It is a 50-50 raffle, but with an added fun twist. It involves a deck of cards turned upside down and numbered 1 through 54. People purchase tickets and assign a number 1 through 52 to each ticket. The next drawing is this Friday at 8 p.m. The pot will be in excess of $10,000. You do not have to be there to win. You can buy tickets at Jim and Jack's whenever they are open. You win the same amount of money whether you are there or not. Help us support this our less fortunate kids in Delhi. Buy some Queen of Hearts tickets. Delhi Parks and Recreation, in cooperation with St. Dominic Athletic Association, Riverview Delhi Hills Kiwanis, Delhi Skyline Chili, Duber's Carryout, James J. Luby CPA, Delhi Business Association, Kruger Law, Chandler's Burger Bistro, Jake's Automotive, Delhi Whodunit, and Hand in Hand Realty presents the Eagles Project, Wednesday, May 22nd from 7 o'clock until 9 p.m. This will be at the Delhi Park Pavilion at 5125 Foley Road. Food and beverages will be available for purchase. No coolers are permitted. The Delhi Veterans Memorial Day ceremony will be held Sunday, May 26, 2024, from 1 until 2 p.m. This is at the Veterans Memorial Park here on Neeb Road at the Administration Building. Due to limited parking, a shuttle bus will be running from the Senior Community Center on Neeb Road.
Okay, back to the no coolers permitted at our concerts. And the reason for that is we have a liquor license, correct? And if you bring liquor on, that's in violation of our liquor license, just like if you carried your own liquor into a bar. So we're not being mean or forcing you to buy anything from us. It's because we would lose our liquor license, and we really don't want to do that. So thank you, and please be cooperative on that. So, all righty, we do have a need to go to executive session today. So if we could have the motion, please, Mr. Luby?
We have a motion to retire to executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, and/or compensation of a public employee of the township, and to consider confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance and imminent litigation.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, motion carries. All right, thank you for being with us. Our next meeting is, hold on, I gotta have the date, it's 27th, something like that? May 29th at 6 p.m., our normal time. In the meantime, join us next Wednesday up at the park for our concert, the Eagles Project.
Is May 29th the last time we'll be at this location?
I was gonna ask that. Is it?
Is it?
I believe so. The AV equipment is moving along. We should be on track for a, June 12th, public,
First
our
meeting?
regular trustee meeting. So,
So if you want a piece of history, come experience it. Come join us on the 29th.
Our finale on Nebe Road.
Yeah, there we go.